Hey guys, what's up? It's Schla coming back to ya with another episode of Car Rides with Schla that we're pretty aggravated about because this is not the first time this has happened to me where my thing is just really annoying. And what I mean by that is this clock out app always worked flawlessly, and now it hasn't been. And it's just like, what I don't understand, but it fouls me up because I can't be sure that the punch out went through because it'll just stall on me. And yeah, I'm definitely not a fan, and this has been happening, and I'm just over it. I don't know how else to put it. I'm just very much over it happening. I'm over it transpiring, period. Because it's really affecting my capability to get out when I would like to. And yeah, I don't really know what else there is to be said about that. So, that brings us to now. Luckily, it revealed itself fairly fast, but it's not good, and there's no explanation. There's also no explanation as to why I couldn't get in yesterday. Something I want to just comment on briefly. Well, I mean, now that I think about it, it's like, why do I even want recognition for it? It's not a very impressive prediction, but apparently Meta is rolling out this new AI version of Shorts, basically. An AI version of TikTok where it's exclusively AI videos. And I think I had already commented on that, how that was going to be a thing at some point, and how, actual creators would eventually just be given the, given the, okay, you're done here. We're just going to ditch y'all type of thing. I already predicted that, but I just think it's interesting to see that now that is materializing, right? Because, I don't know. I had already predicted that. Old news. Then again, it's not like it's a particularly impressive prediction. Right, I mean, it's not particularly, but I thought it's cool to hear that's materializing. Yeah, I mean, besides that, what else is there to comment on? I'm not super sure, honestly. Looked into some of my car stuff. If I am going to do that, it's probably going to be Friday. Not certain, though. Still kind of up in the air as to that. And yeah, I guess the one interesting thing that I thought of today was this thought about a lot of the stuff I've been saying and how maybe one of the justifications the elites use to get through the moral flaws, moral qualms with their ideologies that they have. And it's that really, whose fault is it? Whose fault is it that a lot of these people are, making poor choices or things like that. And is it really like I don't really know that it really solves the moral qualms, but it's basically saying, because I've talked about how, and I've actually brought this up before, the elites sort of do have a point in the sense of this current cost of living crisis and kind of struggles that humans are dealing with. It definitely could have just been avoided, and it's really only humans' own fault. Now, I've said before, it's kind of a tale of what came first, the chicken or the egg. Is it solely environmental, or is it also people at fault? It is kind of a case of both, but, the fact still stands that people have created, through voting, the society that exists now. So you can't really say that it's just the elite's fault, because people could have voted them out or voted in different people if they wanted to. I have no idea what's going on, but there's no way there's traffic. I think it's just poor driving. Like, people are moving like there's traffic, but I see no traffic. So I just think it's poor driving. I have to, like, it's kind of actually ridiculous just how crazy getting out of here is. Like, yeah, this does not make any sense. It looks like there's no traffic. I don't know why there's any sluggishness. Oh, okay. I know why there's sluggishness. There's just something happened with police and all. Interesting. I didn't really get a great look at it, but it is what it is. I didn't really want to. I'm, focusing on driving. But yeah, it's this conundrum, I guess, that exists, but at the same time, I wonder how much it really matters. I mean, it just doesn't... I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, I guess. Like, how... Because that is the truth. We have to remember is there are elites who are conspiring against people, but it's still people's fault, ultimately. I'm not really sure why it's necessary for people who can exploit to not exploit. I mean, I know why, and I know that's being a good person, and so it's this circular kind of logic. But I'm saying at the same time, it's entirely possible that we could have maintained the social fabric that we had, and we just chose not to. Like, humans made a decision, consciously or subconsciously, to get to where we're at right now. That's just the bottom line. There's not really much else to say about it. It's just, it is what it is. This is what we're dealing with, It could have been avoidable. Now, granted, the elites could also... I just realized AC has not been... That explains a lot. Oh my gosh, I am just... This car. Wow, that is a huge difference. Sorry, it's just there's an AC button on my car, and you have to actually press that in order for the AC to be cold. and I keep forgetting that. Like, I think it's so, honestly, I don't know. Because what's weird is there's no heat button, but there's an AC button, but there's a temperature selector. So in my head, I'm not thinking I need to press the AC button, because why would I think that? Do you see what I mean? Okay, and this is the other choke spot. I just have to just roll with the punches. Like, if people just went a little bit faster and drove a little bit better, these choke spots wouldn't happen. It's just like, but it costs me an entire shift, and I don't understand, and then I have to be cautious. But yeah, wow. I mean, I was thinking my AC was going, and I was thinking that before, but this is cold. It is cold now. Like, this thing works. We are in business. Cold business. It must have gotten switched off, because I had been leaving it on just because I don't really like how, it works like that. And it had been, or I wonder if this whole time, if it just didn't even, it's just like so crazy. I guess it saves on energy, but maybe to a point, because you if you don't use the AC, you're probably going to have to use more fan power. Because you're just circulating neutral air, so that just doesn't really work, just doesn't really make a lot of sense. So of course there's probably a ratio, because the fans don't have to spin as much, but I don't know how all this works. It's because air conditioning just has like a coolant liquid, so I'm not really sure why it would be a big deal. Yeah, I'm not sure. Something to think about. Definitely something to think about. Yeah, I'm just thinking I might just get away with staying late that week. Sorry, random thought, note to self. Anyways, we were talking about way more interesting stuff than air conditioning. So this, because I've wondered this about the libertarian mindset and how it's justified, and how, like, they don't feel guilty. And I kind of am thinking that now it's just because of that, because it's basically humans fulfilling themselves. Technically, the system doesn't have any guardrails, but there's still inherent issues with humans if guardrails are necessary. Like, we have to be restrained. I guess it's almost the idea of the Garden of Eden, right? Where you have the fruit, and then we weren't supposed to eat it, but we did, and then that ruined everything. It's kind of like that. I mean, you should, I guess it's nice to have a good government, but at the same time, we made democracy and then proceeded to vote for people who made our lives worse. So, like, to God, is it really, I mean, what does God really think of that? Is he really, who's he going to punish? It's just very, I guess it's interesting just to think about, Because I didn't really, I've thought about it before. I think I've articulated it before, but I think I understand it, or the way I'm saying it now, it kind of came to me today, October 1st. I don't know if that's significant for any reason, but yeah, it just, and it came to me like just randomly how it's like, wow, it basically is that God created man, and then man, yes, man has vices, and yes, like men should look out for other men to help men, but it is also a fulfillment of the destiny. Like it's, we're doing whatever we're doing. In a way, it's was there an alternate? Maybe, but maybe not. Like maybe this is just a consequence of our creation. And so I think that's a very important thing to consider and way of looking at it. I'm feeling pretty good today. I know, I just want to point this out. So yesterday I ran pretty hard. Like I ran, I think, harder than I ever have. In the beginning, I was doing like a 7-minute, 30-second mile, which, again, it's not hard. Like I wasn't, I know that's not, I mean, if I really pushed it, I could do faster. But it's for I do an 11-minute run. And if you're wondering why, it's because, I'd want to do a 10-minute run, but I just want like a buffer minute to just, I don't know, maybe it's just like an OCD thing. So I do an 11-minute run, and the beginning pace was like 7:30, which is insane. And I think by the end of it, I may have ended with like an 8 or an 8:30 in 11 minutes. But still very good. Still very good for sure. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say about that, but it was very hard. Like it's taken it hard, and I feel it a little bit. So we're not going to run tomorrow. Honestly, I might feel worse tomorrow because, that's usually how it works. It's actually like the day after that it really hits you. And then on top of that, today I think I did the fastest walking during my breaks that I've ever done. So it's like, I don't really know why, but remember I woke up and I felt kind of terrible this morning. Like I was like I was a few minutes late, which might not sound like much, but to me it's a lot. I was a few minutes late. But here's the thing, I was a few minutes late and I wasn't even doing anything. Like I had no business being late at all. And so, yeah, it's like I had no business being late this morning. And yet I was, so that kind of, it's just annoying. Right? It's very annoying. But the rest of the day, I mean, I performed well. I think the salt is important. I'm still keeping up the high salt. I think that is probably going to continue to reap dividends. I can't believe something like that silly was holding me back. And yeah, still in my research, of course, too much salt isn't good, but not enough salt is far worse. And that's literally what I was suffering through. So I don't know. It's been very good for me, so I will keep doing it. I feel better, and I think that's all that really needs to be said or explained, But yeah, I don't know. But I did want to make a comment on that. I think tomorrow it may be even worse because, again, I pushed it really hard walking. But then again, I'm not going to run when I get home. Like, I'm going to be super lazy and eat my ice cream and, like, chill. So, I mean, at the same time, is it all going to work out? I don't know. It could. We may just be fine. It may just, because, yeah, I'll get like a full relax today. So that should be nice. Now, what else to talk about? I am kind of feeling better about things, I think. Well, there's actually, I mean, it could be good or it could be bad. Just trying to come more to terms with who I am and potentially what my life path is. I think I feel the weight and the responsibilities of things I may not be supposed to do. If that makes any sense. I don't really know. And I don't really want to get into specifics, but there's just a lot of expectations I've had for myself that I'm not meeting. But what if it's entirely possible I'm just not supposed to? And yeah, maybe other people should. I think the isolation bit is a huge deal. I think it's very true that there's a lot of people that need to isolate far less. And again, for my specific purpose on this planet, I think it's entirely possible that I shouldn't. And I know it's a little bit cringy and it's like, you know, oh, you're that special. You're the person that gets to be antisocial. I'm really not antisocial. First of all, I mean, if somebody wanted to have like a deep conversation with me, I would go crazy. You know what I mean? Like I'm not antisocial, but time is precious. And there's obviously a lot of people who are not feeling the moment, their fingers not on the pulse, and they're ultimately talking about things that don't really matter. Or, you know, at least to me, in my judgment of things, they don't matter. And yeah, I'm not too sure what else do I make of that, you know? I don't even know what I was saying. I just like completely lost it. But yeah, the point is I sort of feel better about things, but the manifestation of that is a time will tell kind of thing. Something I thought about today that was pretty cool though is I kind of was thinking this for a while, but I didn't really follow it, and it's kind of a shame because I was really at a wise point. Although, again, it could end up never mattering, ironically. But basically, when I was 16, or, yeah, was I 16? Maybe, yeah, probably. I had this vision of, you know, there's no reason for computers anymore. Of like phones are going to be fast enough to where you're just not going to need a computer. And what's the point in having this like giant machine when a phone can do all the same stuff, right? That was kind of my premise. And obviously back then that was pretty ambitious, but we're already kind of seeing that. And I think in like 5 years we'll probably see a full manifestation of that. I think in my case, well, actually, it's already presently true if you're just willing to include, I'm trying to think. If you're willing to include, like, constant internet use that the phone has, like, it's already here now. Like, you don't need desktop as long as you have constant reception, because the main barrier is actually storage, right? A desktop, you have basically an infinite amount of storage that you can hook up to it, whereas a phone, you're very limited. Although we are much less limited than we were at one point. I obviously have a 1 terabyte 16 Pro Max, which is amazing for a phone. And yeah, it's just, I mean, it's really great to have that. It's amazing. And what I was getting at is, if you're dependent on the cloud, basically, which most people are, you're already there. I mean, a phone, there's no reason to have a desktop. There's just not. You could just live off of a phone very easily. But if you're like me, you understand that you really need physical things downloaded, even if it's not physical media. Super important. An album that I had seen, multiple songs are just gone, and there's things like that. Content gets lost, and there's YouTube videos that I watched when I was younger that are gone, and I wish I would have saved them. I just didn't think to do it, right? Because it's just, it didn't even dawn on you, right? But I should have saved every single piece of material I ever saw. I'd be incredibly happy if I had done that. Didn't think to do it. Whatever, the past is the past. But at least moving forward now, I want to make sure I save everything I consume. And I'm not even doing that yet. I don't have downloaded every single YouTube video I've watched, but ideally that's what I want to do. And it's incredibly important, incredibly smart. And even with a 1 terabyte iPhone, that's just not going to work. So we're not there yet. But again, they just came out with a 2 terabyte iPhone, which I'm a huge fan of. And it's probably not going to be too much longer. I think in 5 years, we'll probably have a 4 terabyte iPhone. I don't think that's out of the question. So that's going to be pretty strong. And then, obviously at some point it's probably just going to be possible for higher and higher amounts of storage, potentially even better data compression and things. And so things are going to get better. Things are going to get better than they are at now. And even additional storage solutions are probably going to be better, like a portable storage device you could just plug in with USB-C and just add 2 terabytes in this tiny little box, stuff like that. Think it's super cool ideas. And yeah, I don't know if there's much else. But I'm pretty excited because, and the other thing is the ROG Z13 Flow, the newest one. You can get it in 128 gigabytes of RAM, which is obviously pretty impressive, because a device that compact to have that much RAM, it's something that, I don't know. I mean, I don't know that we ever really would have thought that would have. Well, no, I'm sounding way over dramatic. It is to a point where I could have that as my only computer, and I would probably be completely fine with it. So I have this giant desktop, but I really don't need it. I probably could just have that tablet as my one computer. And I think someday that's what I'm going to do. It's just we're not there yet, but I feel like in 5 years, there's just not really going to be a reason for me to have a desktop. That's where we're going to be at. I mean, if you have a 13-inch tablet and you have 2 or even 3 M2 slots, and those slots can support 8 terabytes each, and then it's 256 gigabytes of RAM now, and 24 cores instead of 16 in a tablet. I mean, is there really, and what is the reason to have a desktop? It's just, it becomes like very, so, yeah, it's just, I mean, that is going to be the future, you know, just like a tablet and a phone. I don't think there's going to be a reason for me to have a desktop. So the desktop I have now could be my last, you know, unless, I mean, it's possible things could be different. Because I already said this before. I already said it before, and I still indulged, and I still got the desktop again. But this time, it's more possible than ever because, again, we're so much further into the future. Me getting a desktop now, I'm happy. I still wouldn't be 100% happy with that tablet right now. You know what I mean? And I was ambitious, and I'm correct in saying you don't need a desktop. A laptop is entirely good enough at this point. I'm correct, but I love to have an excessive amount of RAM, and I love to have all the extra storage, but those issues, I think in 5 years will be solved. I think there will be very high RAM portable devices that are pretty widely available. In 5 years, I think the cooling and the thermals will have improved a lot. And yeah, then my vision and my theory will be finally a thing. You know, it would have taken a while. You know, it didn't happen overnight, but it's going to be there, and we're going to, yeah, I don't know. Also, by the way, sorry, random, but my fuel, we will be accurate, and we do need to get gas tomorrow, so that's great. I don't know. Just want to say that. Maybe it'll help me remember, because if I forget now it's a problem. That was the other reason why I would do it like a day in advance, a day earlier, because in the off chance I forgot, I wouldn't be out of luck. I mean, granted, I wouldn't really be out of luck regardless, but I think you get what I'm saying. Like, it's not a good situation, so yeah. Anyways, it's pretty exciting stuff because it is the, I don't know, kind of the end game, right? The desktop I have now, totally good enough for what I do, except maybe a better video card. And I'm saying in 5 years, it's entirely possible that the whatever at that point mobile CPU that the, you know, Asus ROG Z13 Flow in 5 years uses, it will probably match my current setup, right? And so then that's my whole point, is then, yeah, then, so we're finally at the point where I could have the final desktop. Now, I don't want to say I'm never going to get a desktop again. I think I already said it, but I'm saying I don't want to just like force that, because it could be a hobby thing. It could just be something I do for fun. But in terms of necessity, no, it's not going to make that much sense. And we'll just have to evaluate where I'm at in life at that point. But I'm genuinely feeling pretty... So there's reasons for me to be optimistic, because technology is great. And I think it matters to me a lot more than other people. So very happy to see that. And like I said, as difficult as it is for me, I really should just save a boatload of money. I should just save like a dog in 2026, because nothing is... And really, even 2027, I mean, maybe I'll get a new phone in 2027, but maybe I'll wait until 2028. Like, it's not really... I don't know. But that's probably it. Like, there's just not a reason for me to get much else other new good stuff, you know? There may be some other things like a keyboard. I mean, I could get some like super duper nice keyboard. That would be pretty interesting. But you know, I think we're just hanging tight for now. It's just like there's just no reason. I mean, I'm tempted to just keep spending, but I don't need to. You know, it's very very unnecessary, and a lot of this stuff is just not. Yeah, so I'm feeling better about things. It's just, again, I guess I just feel so impatient, but it's just going to take time, and maybe it's for the better, because presumably I will have more money, knock on wood, like I'm going to have more money in the future as long as I just keep working, and I'll actually like be better equipped for that, and then I'll be very happy and very comfortable. Whereas if I keep spending in the meantime, it's still probably going to be fine, but it's not really improving my life in front of me too much, you know? So, and that's the thing with the new iPhone as well. If I was going to get it, I'd really want the 2 terabyte, and that's just way too expensive. So that's really the ultimate issue, is that it's just, you know, it's just too much money. I don't know how else to. Yeah, and so today's is a bit longer, but because there was a little traffic at the beginning, a little congestion, but it's been schla, and now it's time to buy schla. So see you, schla.